6 to 8 weeks ago, I was in one of the lowest lows of my life, one of the worst mental states I've ever experienced. I was in a poorly managed relationship that ended up resulting being in a breakup. I had a dog shit diet in the name of bulking and trying to put on muscle, which was totally just a cope. And I probably was on Instagram Reels or YouTube or some form of just mindless social media for like 7 to 8 hours of my day. This was really the first time I'd ever experienced what people call depression, or what I at least believe to be depression now. I had that feeling of waking up and not wanting to get out of bed in the morning. I had that feeling of not being able to see into the future and see a better life. I really had that feeling that nothing was ever going to change, or that I really wasn't in control of my own reality. And before this, mind you, I didn't even think depression was a thing. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was in the camp, everybody that has depression is just being a pussy, or that's more so a state of being, not really a condition, which I still agree with somewhat. That might get me fucking canceled, but regardless, it was the first time I'd ever felt that shitty for that long of a period of time, and it really wasn't changing. But what I realized from feeling so absolutely shit every single day was that I was doing all these self-destructive things, like eating like shit, not meditating, praying, reading my Bible or anything, sleeping all fucking day, watching fucking brain rot Instagram Reels. I was doing all that because I didn't like the man in the mirror, and I didn't have any goals in mind, or I didn't look forward to the future for anything. Goals delete depression. When your mind is so fixated on your purpose, on your goals, at least in my experience, I've realized that I don't even have like the capacity to feel depression. Obsession beats depression. That might be the title of this fucking video. Oh my gosh, I love that. But I'm so obsessed with my craft, with my work, with becoming a better version of me, upgrading my character, that depression is the last thing my brain wants to feel. There's this Lexx little quote that it was in like a SoundCloud edit or something the first time I heard it, or some shit like that. But I'll play that on the screen, and it really has stuck with me this whole time and was honestly a catalyst for why I changed.
I feel like a lot of people out there with mental health problems, and then they might not be confident in themselves, and they might not feel the best about themselves, and whatever they do, it seems like it's not working out, and they're overall just depressed. And it's like, that's such a hard thing to go through. And I think the biggest thing is having a purpose and having a goal in mind. If you don't have a goal and you're floating around mindlessly and you don't have your mind occupied, it's very easy to be depressed. But like right now, if you don't feel well, please put a mini goal in mind, or a huge goal, whatever goal. Just put some sort of goal in mind and start working towards it. And I promise you, you will feel so much better. You start working towards that goal, and that depression is there. It's gonna start going away because you're so occupied on just achieving something. And the best solution for depression is achievement. Like just feeling that purpose. And
when you have goals in life, that depression starts to go away. He says something along those lines. I don't know if I nailed it on the head, but close enough. When I truly decided that the pain I felt when I looked in the mirror and saw an absolute bitch that didn't want to live was greater than the pain I was going to feel implementing the good habits, that is the very moment I changed. And I wish I had a document of it, but I just fucking remember exactly when it was. And it was just, I woke up that next morning at 6 a.m. with a fucking fire under my skin of just looking in the mirror and seeing a different person than what I saw. I wanted to live a shameless, purposeful, and proud life where when I look in the mirror, I'm like, damn, I put in a solid day's work. That's the Greg Plitt quote, if any of y'all know that. But I want to feel a solid day's work, and that's how I'm gonna beat this depression, and that's how I ultimately did. Now, how does this relate to goals? To preface this, I want to talk about probably the most important part very briefly. I want to make a full video on this, but that's going to be self-image. You have to autistically vision yourself as a better person. Every single day, my goal regarding self-image was changing very rapidly. Every day when I walked into the gym to start, I saw myself as kind of a bitch. I saw myself as a pussy. I was just, what I had done leading up to that moment, I just wasn't proud of my life. And I didn't have a reason to be either, honestly. But as I started to implement these habits and this stuff that just changes your life, that everybody's preaching that you need to do, my life started changing. I want to be a testimony for how this stuff changes your life. If you're having doubts, or you still have that part of your brain that's fucking coping, trying to tell you that you don't need to do this shit when you absolutely do. If there's one part of yourself that you don't fucking like, you need to be doing the hard shit that takes discipline, like meditating, journaling, gratitude journaling, prayer, training, waking up early, eating clean, All this basic ass stuff leads to a healthier, happier, and more fulfilled life, and ultimately leads you to being able to live out your purpose on this earth that God puts you here to do. And through my testimony, when I walked into that gym, or even in my bathroom, and saw myself in the mirror about 6 weeks ago, the person I saw then to the person I see now is like a total fucking 180. Now, the physical differences are so minimal. I had a decent physique 6 to 8 weeks ago. Definitely less lean and way more fucking watery because of all the dog shit I was eating. But it wasn't necessarily the physique. It was knowing that I put a solid day's work in when I looked at myself, when I looked at my eyes in the mirror. Now, for the real meat and potatoes of this video, which is quantifiable goals, I'll show a picture video of, first off, my habit tracker from about 3 or 4 weeks ago. This is when I really started to become like autistic about these fucking habits and making sure that I was getting them done. I'll show that habit tracker on the screen. You can see when I switched to using the 5-4-5 method, which I will show in another video. You'll see this habit tracker and how getting these habits done and making that my mission was my goals. But that's more so to show when I was first starting out, when I was first setting these goals, like I talked about in my video 2 days ago about character and about becoming the man who can achieve anything and not fixating on the external vices like money, women, status, and all that. But overall more health and mental related that I was fixating on, that I dialed the fuck in to feel better about my life. Now, after I conquered those demons and really dialed in those holistic goals, I was able to shift to where my goals are now because I have those habits ingrained. I'm going to do them. And a lot of them I make sure I get done in my 5-4-5, which I will be making a video on within the next week, 100%. Such an influential practice, but that's not the point. I was able to shift to these goals that really put the nail in the fucking coffin to the depression and the sadness that I was feeling and just the unenthusiasm about life. I'm fucking sitting here ecstatic to go work after I record this video. I fucking cannot wait. I cannot wait for my workout later. I can't wait for any of that shit. And establishing these 5 goals is what put the fucking nail in the coffin at the end of the day. That's what built my obsession to becoming A, a better man, and B, achieving the things God put me on this earth to do and fulfilling my fucking purpose. Really, the main thesis I want to ingrain in your head from this video is that obsession over discipline, delayed gratification, and overall your future and the betterment of your character, and treating it like a fucking video game. Like, I'm a literal 2K player. My 3-point shot is my discipline. My fucking driving layup is my mindfulness from meditation, journaling, and all that shit. I'm living life like a fucking video game. And just like when you were a kid, you were obsessed with that video game you were playing, you were obsessed with leveling up, that's how I feel about life. Because it's the same exact way when you reframe your mind and truly see the fruits and the happiness and peace you get from coming to the other side and not just living a drone-like life. And my gosh, when I reach one of these 5 goals, I hope I can come back to this video where I showed my 5-4-5 and just feel that delayed gratification, because there's no better feeling than delayed gratification. That pleasure you get when you look on Instagram Reels, that pleasure you get when you eat that fucking McDonald's or shitty ass food, or that pleasure you get from skipping your wake up time and sleeping in later cannot even compare to a sliver of the feeling you get when you just do a hard ass workout. When I see one small little win on my YouTube video that did kind of decent, or when I just sat down, journaled, and meditated over the thoughts that were going on in my fucking brain. The gratification you get from doing that stuff is so much stronger than the instant pleasures of life. I cannot stress that enough. So overall, to delete the fucking depression and guilt and shame you have in your life from not being the person you're supposed to be and not working towards that person, go create some goals that focus on getting healthier, more mentally present, and physically stronger. Go make those goals just like I did with my habit tracker and really let that fuel your obsession to becoming a better fucking person. And your brain all of a sudden won't have time, won't have capacity to be depressed because you'll be so enthused and present about life, living how a human is supposed to fucking live. Because mindset comes before everything, and you have this stuff ingrained in your self-image, ingrained in your mindset, you become unbreakable, unstoppable. And I'm so grateful, so glad that I've learned these lessons and that I get to share them with you guys watching. So thank you all so much for watching. God bless y'all, and I hope y'all have a great rest of your day.